As you may have seen by now, today the president asked the intelligence community to redouble their efforts to collect and analyze information that could bring us closer to a definitive conclusion and to a report back to him in 90 days. Back in early 2020, the president called for the CDC to get access to China to learn about the virus so we could fight it more effectively. Getting to the bottom of the origin of this pandemic will help us understand how to prepare for the next pandemic and the next one.
As the world remains divided on finding the actual origins of the COVID-19 virus, US President Joe Biden announced an investigation on May 26th to collect and analyze information that would provide answers on how and where the virus originated. The investigation gives a new breath of life to the Wuhan lab leak theory that has been under speculation since the early days of the pandemic. What was once considered a racially targeted attack on China by the Trump administration has now been legitimized with the help of Biden's support, along with other world leaders joining in. Here's what is understood so far and what is speculated.
The Wuhan lab leak theory has been gaining traction over the last month or so. Because I think partly one reason is that the WHO report that was released on March 30th, that had no conclusive findings. The first scenario that it put out was that the virus had transmitted from animals to humans. The second theory it put out was that of an intermediary host, that is, it went from animals to an intermediary host to humans. Then the third scenario it put out was that it came in frozen food through the cold chain process. And then the fourth scenario, which was that it had escaped from a lab. They had another report which said that the origin of this virus was actually in a copper mine in the Yunnan province of China, where some miners had fallen sick. Some 6 of them had actually died. And because they had died, then the researchers from the Wuhan Institute of Virology collected samples from them. They collected as many as 276 samples, and they from bat feces basically, and they studied them and they identified strains of virus. And then and the theory is that they were experimenting there on these viruses that they had identified. So from there, the theory got some traction that perhaps they were experimenting with these viruses and accidentally something had leaked from there, something had been allowed to escape from their accident. One is accountability. One is that they want to fix accountability for what has happened, who is to blame for this, for shutting down the world for almost 2 years. The other reason why people are very insistent, why countries have been very insistent about finding out the origin of the virus is purely scientific. That if you know what happened this time, then you can probably prevent it. You have a good chance of preventing the same thing from happening again. If it was a lab leak by chance, then we can actually put in place safer lab practices, lab standards, lab security standards can be enhanced. It is said that this is all hype that is being created by the United States. They've called it, they've said that it's blame shifting. Whenever China has found itself blamed, especially during the Trump administration, they have actually said no, it came out of the US labs, and it came out of a military base in Virginia. Nobody has said that it was a deliberate plan by China to release it into the world. So far, people are only saying that it was an accidental leak from the lab. India didn't really make a statement of its own. I have to say that so many countries, like for instance, the US and 13 countries put out a statement. So the Indian spokesman, Ministry of External Affairs spokesman's response was that that the WHO report was an important first step, and it stressed the need for the next phase studies, as also for further data and studies to reach robust conclusions, and that the follow-up of the report, that all countries need to cooperate in whatever follow-up report or investigation is carried out. The whole statement did not, there was no mention of China at all. So India is treading very carefully in this matter. Everybody knows we have our own problems with China, and I think India has taken a very, very careful position. It has not, and as I said earlier, it has not joined exactly with the other countries. EU or the group of countries that joined with the US in making that statement at the World Health Assembly. Yeah.